I'll bring him in.
Blog Talk Radio.
And welcome to another edition of Carnivore Radio. Dr. Lopkin, we were looking forward to a Super Bowl edition.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's still a lot of stuff to talk about with the Super Bowl and some of the ramifications. I do find it interesting. I'm expecting ratings to be down considerably this year. Most people that I know haven't even been following football given the pandemic situation.
You know, I would agree with you 100%, Dr. Lopkin, as I always do, because how could I not? But this one, old against new, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Brady.
You know, in other words, Brady against the upstart.
Yeah, but I mean, Brady might bring in New England Patriots fans, but the fact of the matter is the bulk of the country hates the New England Patriots and doesn't like Tom Brady. So it's not going to he's not bringing in a wide audience. In fact, when he was with the Patriots, every time the Patriots appeared in the Super Bowl, ratings dropped.
I did not know. I thought he had okay. One of the things is, you know, in marketing, you can never, one of the basically cardinal sins you can do is because you think you like it, everyone else does. I was oblivious. I mean, I didn't really like Brady, but now I kind of do. Maybe it's because I'm getting to be a senior citizen. It's an amazing story. I like the whole thing about old versus new.
It is an interesting story. We'll see how it plays out on Sunday. But, I mean, Brady has proven to be a big draw in New England, and that's pretty much it. The rest of the country doesn't care about him, or if they do, they're generally against him. So they may tune in to see him lose or hope to see him lose. I don't know that he's going to lose.
Yeah, I think they did a whatever it's worth, and it's obviously just kind of humorous, a computer-generated play of the game, and I believe they had that the Kansas City Chiefs win by 10, but obviously that doesn't mean a thing. I personally believe that Brady wins. And actually, I was of you. I was one of
that I'll disagree with. I honestly think Kansas City's going to take it just based on their play over the course of the season.
So why? This is good, Dr. Lopkin. Here's why I think Brady's going to win. Number one, two of the tackles, which is a key part to the game, is out for the Chiefs. Mahomes, I believe, had a little bit of an injury. Maybe yes, maybe no. I just think Brady is one of these.
That could be a problem. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's true. No, two of the tackles, who was a Pro Bowl tackle is out for the Chiefs, and I think there's another one that's out that's really, really good. So I think that's huge, and I think Mahomes had an injury to begin with. So that's two big factors right there. I just think Brady is one of those things that, like, I don't even know how to describe it, Dr. Lopkin. I think he's one of those forces of nature that is a force of nature. Yes, he did lose 2 Super Bowls, and both, by the way, a little trivia, to the Giants and one to the Eagles. So I think he's lost 3. I think it's just his time.
It could be. I mean, I'm in the camp that honestly believes the New England Patriots did as well as they did with Brady because of rampant cheating. I mean, you had Deflategate, you had opposing teams' signals being stolen, you had numerous teams reporting mysterious headset issues while they were playing in Gillette Stadium. So I don't honestly believe that Tom Brady is as good as his hype.
Again, I have to disagree. And I was not a Tom Brady fan. I really didn't like him. The more the more I see, he is one of those people that is actually that good. I really do believe it. I think that he's just a winner. And that's one of the things I think that, I kind of disagree. I think the ratings are going to be huge because he is a winner. He's just a winner. And maybe with the COVID and everything else, maybe people want to see. I mean, not a comeback story. I mean, that's really, overdoing it. But
most of the country doesn't look at him as a winner. Most of the country doesn't like him at all. So, you're going to have pockets of people, again, especially in the New England area, that, oh, yes, Tom Brady. And some of them actually won't turn in because they're upset that he left New England. But most of the country, it's like the New York Yankees. Most of the country hates the New York Yankees. And every time the Yankees appear in a World Series, the ratings go down. It was the same thing with Tom Brady and It was the same thing with Tom Brady and the Patriots. Every time they appeared in the Super Bowl, ratings went down. And I think Tom Brady is bringing that with him. I don't think people want to see him.
Yeah, that's really interesting about the Yankees. I always thought that the media wanted an LA, New York World Series. I did not know that. I thought they wanted both of the coasts. But
the media wants it because the media is based on the coasts. They give it
I'm talking about ratings,
the big.
though.
Yeah, no. Every time the Yankees have appeared, ratings went down because outside of New York City, nobody liked or parts of New England also are Yankees fans up until you get to Red Sox Nation. But the Yankees do not translate nationally, and neither did the New England Patriots. So we'll see, does Tom Brady take that with him to Tampa Bay, or is it more the country didn't like Belichick and the Patriots, and Brady was okay, and now that he's gone, maybe they'll tune in. It's going to be interesting to see. I think another story that this brings up, though, I find at least very interesting, especially with the Super Bowl, is the number of states that are looking to legalize sports betting. And Super Bowl is big with sports betting, and of course, for most of the country, that's illegal. You have to go to one of the casinos to do that, and even a lot of the Indian casinos aren't allowed to participate. Now, the states being, cash poor and they have to raise revenues, they're starting to talk about should they legalize sports betting. And both New York and Connecticut are looking at the possibility of legalizing it this year.
Okay, I have to... Connecticut intrigues me. They had an opportunity. You probably were in New York at this time, but they had an opportunity. I think Wynn wanted to open up casinos. I'm talking in relatively the early 90s. But Lowell Weicker, one of the boy geniuses of this stratosphere, said that was beneath us. I mean, and then, and here we go. And then Connecticut always kind of loses out in everything, including pot. you have Massachusetts legalizing pot and Connecticut. No, it's
the marijuana legal. The marijuana legalization question is absolutely ridiculous for Connecticut because Massachusetts has already legalized it. Rhode Island has legalized it. They just haven't implemented yet. New York, I believe, has already passed the legalization, but it is going to implement it. So that basically means on every border of Connecticut, pot is legal, and yet Connecticut has refused to move forward with it.
Oh, no, agreed. And I've known people that I've grown up with that are, oh, my God, it's so sad, approaching senior citizen status. I am shocked, Dr. Lopkin, at how many people smoke pot. I am not one of them.
Oh, absolutely.
Just because I don't like it, not for moral reasons. It's just not for me. But, yeah, I mean, I went out to dinner with the person I went to high school with, and he is a, big corporate executive, and he goes to Massachusetts, I think it's like Otis, Mass, something like that, and gets his legal pot and blah, blah, blah. But Dr. Lopkin, only as you can do, I believe there's less differences at a metaphysical level between the generations. Like when I grew up, you had like the Rolling Stones and the Beatles and Ed Sullivan, and that was like, oh my God. I mean, my father had 0.0 interest in rock and roll. Zero. Okay? Zero. I mean, he was an educated guy, but had no interest. Had zero interest, didn't know who Mick Jagger was. I mean, he obviously probably knew that. But now, I guess my point is, you have people my age, I don't know, probably getting high with their kids or not hiding that they are. The whole, isn't that something socially that's kind of interesting?
It has evolved in an interesting way. I know, my kids actually don't listen to current music. They listen to the stuff that I grew up listening to. Now, part of that is just the music industry has turned into a corporate shill, turning out all of this garbage that my kids have gone, I can't listen to this, and then they've discovered not just the music I grew up with, but they've discovered the joy of listening to it on vinyl because they've discovered the difference between the rich sounds of a vinyl record and an MP3. So you do have that sort of everything old is new again vibe going on. In terms of pot, there has been so much evidence of the good that especially medicinal marijuana does. And for full transparency, I have a medical condition that causes me great pain in my eyes. And my doctors prescribed 8 different things, one at a time. Nothing helped. I finally tried medicinal marijuana and bam, it was fantastic. It got rid of the pain. I don't take it often. I take it as I would any other medication. But the fact that that's now out there, that I'm on a podcast and I can say that with no problem, that I don't have to hide the fact that I'm taking this for pain. It really has
actually,
changed.
Dr. Lopkin, I think you're 100% correct. Make no mistake about it. Number one, even for recreational concerns, I just don't like it. I wish I did. When my friends tell me they're going up to Mass and getting, not medical marijuana, but, recreational marijuana, I'm like, yeah, well, I feel like, life is short. I just don't enjoy it. And I think for medical reasons, again, it wouldn't be for me, but pot, marijuana, I think has many medicinal purposes. I really do believe that. I believe it's 100% true.
Absolutely. And I don't actually smoke marijuana. I actually use it in edibles. I find it works better for me that way. So I don't have because I can't stand the smoke that it generates either, which is why I rely on edibles. But 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago already, I was down in Florida, and I was amazed because every coffee shop we passed had groups of seniors sitting outside smoking pot. Out in the open.
The interesting thing is, those same people told their kids not to smoke pot. I know we're up against a break, so maybe we'll just take it.
Yeah. Well, we'll go to the break, and I will address that right when we come back.
Mm-hmm.
To reach the next level, you need to operate at peak performance. The key to this is mastering the 7 elements of success. Learn how to master mindset, focus, operations, communications, innovation, evaluation metrics, and continuous improvement. Get the Biznetics way at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, and bookstores near you.
And we're back. And if you'd like to join in on the conversation, you can call us at 563-999-3693. That's 563-999-3693. And,
I apologize to you, Dr. Lopkin, a little bit, and for our listeners, because I thought I really set up one of those things. I really thought I set up an amazing show. But anyway, it is what it is. You got to roll with the punches.
Absolutely.
You've had yours, and I've had mine.
Now
we're equal.
Right. When things go live, things happen, and you roll with the punches. But not to drag out an old chestnut, but we've talked on this podcast, on Carnivore Bites, back when we were on the radio, about the influence of the media and how that changes people's opinions. And the fact of the matter is, this has been documented that the initial push to make marijuana illegal, to take away people's choice on it, and to literally just suppress it from the general public was pushed by William Randolph Hearst, who didn't care so much about getting high
racism.
People using pot. But no, it wasn't racism, it was commerce. He did not want people being able to grow hemp because he had huge investments in paper mills and cotton, and he did not want to be challenged by the hemp industry. So
that's interesting. That's interesting. And also, I did hear that part of it, and I mean, again, this is just what I've heard, was racially motivated because a lot of black jazz musicians, not a lot, some black jazz musicians smoke pot, and it was, whites drink. We got to outlaw this. So there's a lot of things behind it. Quite frankly, again, I don't participate. To some degree, I wish I did for various reasons, but I actually think pot is a lot safer than alcohol. I mean, even I'm not talking about medically. I'm just talking about socially. I think alcohol. You have drunk driving. I know, you're not going to, driving a car when you're high, probably not the best idea, but I think it's actually safer. I mean, and that's a degree of insanity. But I do believe pot, domestic violence, abuse of kids. Alcohol for certain people is not a good thing. You get high and you're like, yeah, whatever. You might be, high, but there's a big difference. I think alcohol, I really believe alcohol is a lot more dangerous. And it's probably a lot more dangerous to your body.
Yeah, there has been evidence of this. Unfortunately, because the federal government declared pot, off limits, there hasn't been the scientific study of it as, prescription drugs or alcohol has been tested, So there's still a lot we don't know. But since things are lightening up, there have been several universities that have actually started clinical studies of the effects of marijuana, the effects of getting high, the effects of medicinal marijuana. How can it help? How does it hurt? Everything up until the last year or so has really been propaganda. There was never any evidence to support either side because the federal government went, no, you can't study that. And, I mean, let's face it, the Biden administration has been yelling, science, science, science. Well, this is another place where he can put his money where his mouth is and actually let studies of marijuana go through.
The only thing I will say, as someone that grew up post, if you will, so pot was totally available, and in college it was beyond available. In my own pea-brain assessment, Dr. Lopkin, I do believe it is a gateway drug. Because here's my little theory. Alcohol destroys brain cells. Pot kind of rearranges them, which I'm not so sure is any better. I mean, I know people that are older than me that have smoked pot since, I don't know, the 70s. And okay, all I'll say is it's not without its repercussions. That is not accurate.
No, it's
That's
not.
I will state that.
It is not without repercussions. It is like everything else. Taken in moderation, it tends to be okay. Taken to extremes, it will do permanent damage. This is actually something I had a conversation with someone, and it drives me up the wall because most Americans don't seem to understand the true meaning of the word toxic. People will go, oh, that's toxic, we can't go near it. Oh, that's toxic, it's terrible. Toxic is not an either or. Toxic is a measure. Water, when you drink too much of it, becomes toxic.
Interesting, Dr. Lopkin. No. It's funny that you say that because there was getting back to our old days, there was a radio show that had, I know what a dumb contest, but the most water you can drink would win a prize. It was a famous case. God, time flies, maybe 15 years ago. And someone died from water, and the station got sued like millions. Do you ever hear about that case? It's actually true. What a dumb contest, but it was like you have to drink as much water as you possibly can, and you get the BMW or you get the Chevy Cruze or whatever it was.
I'm going to cut you off because Jeff, I'm going to cut you off because we've got a caller coming in. So hang on one moment. And caller, you're on the air.
Hey, how are you? I'm looking for Jeff. My name is Kashandi Wallace. I'm over here at Uncorking No Wine,
Wallace,
man.
Thank you. And you know something? I'm so happy you joined our show because Dr. Lopkin, I told you I had an esteemed guest, but we're going to do a consolidated version, okay? So
we've got about 5 minutes left to go, so...
Yep.
Go ahead. Let's talk about real quick, 2 minutes, your store, your liquor store opened up relatively quickly. Let's talk a little bit about that. How did it happen, and how did you have the courage, the fortitude to make that happen?
So I had Googled businesses for sale actually, and this one came about. So I called up the business broker, and he told me the address, and I came up in here, and I shadowed the spot for a couple weeks, and I was very, very hesitant because of the pandemic was going on. So I was very, very hesitant so from probably February all the way till August it took me to finish the deal. But me and my wife, we run the store single-handedly by ourselves. We only got one worker on Sundays. But just one.
I know him well. He doubles as a pizza guy, right?
Yeah, and on top of that, I work as a professional fireman in the city of Hartford. So it's a lot of work. There's a lot of work. And
my last question before we go to the Super Bowl is
Yep.
yes, that it, to me means a lot. And Dr. Lopkin, I think you will appreciate that. That's our co-host. Is that takes guts because you're not a multimillionaire. So before you go to the Super Bowl and your analysis of it, how do you do that? You have a wife, you have a family, whatever. How do you make that leap? And isn't that really the essence of the American dream?
That's all it is. See, I was when I turned 30 years old, I had like a basement party, and my saying was when I was 30 years old was, "It's either now or never." So, the leap thing is, I always go by the phrase that scared money don't make no money. So you have to actually come off the porch and act in order to make something happen for yourself. If not, then you stay on the porch, then you're content and nothing
I love that.
comes of that.
Something I saw years ago, a show, Dr. Lopkin, you'll appreciate this as well. They had the president of Notre Dame, and I'll still remember this. The crimes of omission are worse than the crimes of failure. Dr. Lopkin.
Oh, I love that. It's absolutely true. And, there's so many people that have said this. I don't remember who originated it, but I would rather regret trying something and failing than regretting not trying it. And that's the backbone of America.
It is, and he is the backbone of America. Believe me, he assumed a business. He started it. He took a chance. I think it's amazing. I think people will get his, address, the company name. They should support him. But before we go, let's talk sports. Your analysis, sir. This is it. The spotlight's on you.
All right. So what I say is Kansas City all day, every day. They got the goat and they got the goat versus the baby goat. I'm going with the baby goat.
Yes. Well said. Yes.
Yes. With the younger legs, and he also has more weapons. I'm going with the baby goat. He has more weapons. The defense is monstrous. The only setback that I could see could be a problem is the line of Kansas City because of the injuries. But other than that,
yes, we talked about that before you came. No doubt.
It's KC all day. It is KC all
but how
day.
About the will? No. How about the will? And let me just pose this. Yes, Mahone, an amazing winner. There's no question.
Yeah.
Okay, but Brady, this is it. You either do or die. Doesn't it have to speak for something?
That's a fact. That is a fact.
Okay, that's a fact.
It does speak for something. But he got Evans and he got the other guy, the other receiver, and he also has Brown also. So he does have weapons, but the way that these guys play, Tampa Bay ain't been in the postseason in years on top of years. They were 7-9 last year.
Exactly.
So these guys actually know how to win. And another thing I will say, Tampa Bay is scoring a lot of points too. They averaging 30 points in the postseason this year.
Amazing story. Amazing story. Talking about winning, let's have a shout out about your company, your store, and we don't have too much left. The name of your store, why people should go, and I would concur.
So my store's name is called Uncorking and Wine at 33 East Main Street in Avon, Connecticut, right across from the Cake Gypsy and right next door to Hot Heaven, and you're in the same vicinity as the UPS store. So if you want dessert, you go to Cake Gypsy. You want a hot meal, you go to Hot Heaven. And then to top it all off, if you want to feel some spirit, you come to my store. I have some spirit. I have some good wines. I have a wide variety of craft beer.
And a great dog, correct? Flip.
And a dog. I call him my wingman. He's my sidekick,
Excellent.
And he loves greeting people.
We're up against a hard break. I've got to cut you off. You've been listening to Carnivore Radio. We're here every Friday at Blog blogtalkradio.com/Carnivore Radio, and you can catch the replay on the Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you find podcasts. We'll see you next week.
And thanks for joining the show.